12th NCERT, Chapter 14, Ecosystem, page number 241. NCERT reading. An ecosystem can be visualized as the functional unit of nature where living organisms interact among themselves and also with the surrounding physical environment. Ecosystem varies greatly in size from a small pond to a large forest or a sea. Many ecologists regard the entire biosphere as a global ecosystem, as a composite of all local ecosystems on Earth. Since this system is too much big and complex to be studied at one time, it is convenient to divide into two basic categories, namely the terrestrial and the aquatic. Forest, grassland, and desert are some examples of terrestrial ecosystems. Pond, lake, wetland, river, and estuary are some examples of aquatic ecosystems. Crop field and an aquarium may be also considered as an man-made ecosystems. We will first look at the structure of the ecosystem in order to appreciate the input, productivity, transfer of energy, food chain, web, nutrient cycling, and the output, degradation, and energy loss. We will also look at the relationships, cycles, chains, waves that are created as a result of those energy flows within the system and their interrelationships. An ecosystem structure and function. In chapter 13, you have looked at the various components of the environment, abiotic and biotic. You studied how the individual biotic and abiotic factors affected each other and their surrounding. Let us look at those components in a more integrated manner and see how the flow of energy takes place within those components of the ecosystem. Interaction of biotic and abiotic components results in a physical structure that is a characteristic for each type of ecosystem. Identification and enumeration of plant and animal species of an ecosystem gives its species composition. Vertical dispersion of different species occupying different levels is called stratification. For example, trees occupy vertical strata or layer of a forest. Shrubs, the second, and the herbs, the grasses occupy the bottom layers. The components functional of the ecosystem are seen to the function as a unit when consider the following aspects: productivity, decomposition, energy flow, and nutrient cycling. To understand the ethos of an aquatic ecosystem, let us take a small pond as an example. This is a fairly self-sustainable unit and rather simple example that explains even the complex interaction that exists in an aquatic ecosystem. A pond is a shallow water body in which all the above mentioned four basic components of an ecosystem are well exhibited. The abiotic components is the water with all the dissolved water with all dissolved water, inorganic and organic substances, and the rich soil deposit at the bottom of the pond. The solar input, the cycle of temperature, day length, and other climatic conditions means ये चार conditions एंटायर पॉन्ड इकोसिस्टम को इफेक्ट करते हैं. The heterotrophic components include the phytoplankton, some algae, and the floating submerged and marginal plants found at the edges. The consumers are represented by the zooplankton, free-swimming and bottom-dwelling forms. The decomposers are the fungi, bacteria, and flagellates, especially abundant in the bottom of the pond. This system performs all the functions of any ecosystem and of the biosphere as a whole, that is, a conversion of inorganic into organic material with the help of the radiant energy of the sun by the heterotrophs, the consumption of the heterotrophs by heterotrophs, decomposition and mineralization of the dead matter to release them back for use by heterotrophs. These events are repeated over and over again. There is a unidirectional movement of energy towards at the higher trophic levels and its dissipation and loss as a heat to the environment. Second, productivity. A constant input of solar energy is the basic requirement for any ecosystem to function and sustain. Primary production is defined as the amount of biomass or organic matter produced per unit area irrespective of time period. means इसमें time period की जरूरत नहीं है. area over time period by plants during photosynthesis. It is expressed in terms of weight gram meter square or energy kcal meter square. The rate of biomass production is called productivity. It is expressed in terms of gram square per year or kcal meters per square per year. To compare the productivity of different ecosystem, it can be divided into gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. Gross primary productivity of an ecosystem is the rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis. A considerable amount of GPP is utilized by the plants in respiration. Gross primary productivity minus respiration loss is the net primary productivity. GPP minus R इज इक्वल टू NPP. ये सवाल 2021 के नीट में आया था और पहला ही प्रश्न था बायोलॉजी में. नेट प्राइमरी प्रोडक्टिविटी इज द अवेलेबल बायोमास फॉर द कंजप्शन to heterotrophs, herbivores and decomposers. Secondary productivity is defined as the rate of formation of new organic matter by consumers. Primary productivity depends on the plant species inhabiting a particular area. It also depends on a variety of environmental factors, availability of nutrients and photosynthetic capacity of plants. Therefore, it varies in different types of ecosystem. The annual net primary productivity of the whole biosphere is approximately 170 billion tons as dry weight of organic matter. Of this, despite of occupying about 70% of the surface, the productivity of the oceans are only 55 billion tons. Rest of course is on land. Discuss the main reason for the low productivity of ocean with your teacher. Decomposition. You may have heard of the earthworm being referred as the farmer's friend. This is so because they help in the breakdown of complex organic matter as well as in loosening of the soil. Similarly, decomposers break down complex organic matter into inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water and nutrients, and the process is called decomposition. Dead plant remains such as leaves, bark, flowers and dead remains of animals including the fecal matter constitute detritus, which is the raw material for decomposition. The important steps in the process of the decomposition are the fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, humidification and mineralization. Detritus, example earthworm, break down detritus into smaller particles. This process is called fragmentation. By the process of leaching, water soluble inorganic nutrients go down into the soil horizon and get precipitated as unavailable salts. Bacterial and fungal enzymes degrade detritus into simple inorganic substances. This process is called catabolism. It is important to know that all the above steps in decomposition operate simultaneously on the detritus. यानी कि फ्रेगमेंटेशन, लीचिंग और कैटाबोलिज्म एक साथ होते हैं और ह्यूमिफिकेशन वो बाद में होता है. इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट टू नोट दैट ऑल द अबव स्टेप्स इन डिकम्पोजिशन ऑपरेट simultaneously on the detritus. Humidification and mineralization occur during decomposition in the soil. Humidification leads to accumulation of a dark colored amorphous substance called humus that is highly resistant to microbial action and undergoes decomposition at an extremely slow rate. Being colloidal in nature, it serves as a reservoir of nutrients. The humus is further degraded by some microbes and release of inorganic nutrients occur by the process known as mineralization. Decomposition is largely an oxygen requiring process. It is an aerobic process. The rate of decomposition is controlled by chemical composition of detritus and the climatic factors. यानी कि डिकम्पोजिशन पर दो फैक्टर अफेक्ट करते हैं. इसका मतलब है केमिकल कॉम्पोजिशन and climatic factor. In particular climatic condition, decomposition rate is slow if detritus is rich in lignin and chitin, and quicker if detritus is rich in nitrogen and water soluble substances like sugars. Temperature and soil moisture are the most important climatic factors that regulate decomposition through their effects on the activities of soil microbes. Warm and moist environment favor decomposition, whereas low temperature and anaerobic inhibit decomposition, resulting in build-up of organic materials. यानी कि इस पर असरेशन और रीजन असरेशन और रीजन का क्वेश्चन बन सकता है. वो ऐसा कि डिकम्पोजिशन इज लार्जली एरोबिक, यानी कि डिकम्पोजिशन इज एरोबिक प्रोसेस और डिकम्पोजिशन डज नॉट रिक्वायर्स ऑक्सीजन. ऐसा भी असरेशन रीजन बन सकता है. आते हैं एनर्जी फ्लो की तरफ. एक्सेप्ट फॉर द डीप सी हाइड्रोथर्मल इकोसिस्टम, sun is the only एनर्जी फ्लो हम सेकंड पार्ट में देखेंगे। लेट्स गाय, सब्सक्राइब माय चैनल, लाइक एंड सब्सक्राइब माय चैनल।